welcome to the Sustainable Enterprise podcast brought to you in association with Enterprise Ireland. I'm Bobby Carr. I'm your host for this podcast series where we'll bring you the sustainability stories of Irish business. I'm delighted to be joined by the Group Compliance Manager of CJ Sheeran, Mr. Brian Fingleton. Brian, you're very welcome to the podcast.
Thank you, Bobby. Absolutely delighted to be here.
Now, tell us a little bit about how this business, CJ Sheeran, began.
It began, I suppose, with Mark Sheeran. So Mark Sheeran is our managing director, and Mark's dad, Kenneth Sheeran, would have started in the industry back in the 60s. He would have started out in a village in Coolrain, not too far from Mountrat in County Laois. And from there, he would have made kegs and supplied into Guinness.
Okay.
And then in the early 90s, Mark Sheeran, Kenneth's son, then would have took over the business, moved into Mountrat in County Laois, and basically he would have added new contracts. And again, the tech sector would have been very strong then, and Mark would have added the likes of Dell or IBM to the portfolio. But he also would have continued with fencing and gate manufacturing at the time. So again, we would have been a very diversified business even back in the early days.
Common denominator was wood, was it? Timber.
Absolutely.
So if it was pallets, it was fences, it was
Gates.
all timber.
All kinds of timber packaging. So again, at the moment, currently we have obviously automated lines. So we also do manual build. So again, bespoke items to customers.
Okay, so that would be like packaging in crates. For maybe healthcare equipment or something like that.
Exactly, crates, dunnage, etc. But predominantly pallets, I suppose, will be our business.
It's a very interesting business because you're able to be, I suppose, naturally sustainable. You're able to use offcuts of one product to create another product, which I think is quite fascinating. So maybe tell us a little bit about all that.
CJ Sheeran, we have 12 sites predominantly across the country. We're nearly like Shaw's, almost nationwide. We have a new arm, a new timber packaging arm to our business, and obviously we have a recycling arm to our business. The new packaging, we have automated lines across 3 sites, Ballinrobe, Shannon Street and Ballyhonus in County Mayo. We have the capacity to make 80,000 pallets per week. And we also then have a manual section to make bespoke products for customers, which includes pallets and crates.
Okay.
Part of the other side of the business then, so we're selling new product into customers and clients. The other side of the business, we actually buy back pallets that are reused, to reuse. So we recycle. So we can repair blocks, boards, or whatever from the pallet to send them back out into the market again. Where we can't recycle a pallet, we can shred. We have a facility on our Limerick Road site where we have a shredder, and that shreds the pallets into a byproduct of wood chip. Okay.
So effectively then you could be buying and selling your own product a couple of times.
Correct.
Or maybe even more than a couple. If it comes to, you might see the same pallet 5 or 6 times coming back to you.
Well, we believe, I suppose, a pallet can be recycled up to 10 and even more times. But I suppose, Bobby, it depends on the strength of the pallet because there's all kinds of shapes and sizes to a pallet depending on what product it's going to carry. So again, as I say, the byproduct is a product called wood chip. And wood chip can be used for biomass fuel, as in for fuel for biomass boilers. It can also be used for wood chip for landscaping and also for the equine industry as embedding.
So you've got 3 arms then of the wood chip that you use from recycled pallets. There's 3 different, I suppose, businesses within that.
Correct.
So that's people talk about a circular economy. That's a fantastic thing to be able to do. To be able to take a byproduct, create 3 new, I suppose, customer bases out of it, and be in 3 different businesses, all from reusing a product that may have been discarded.
Absolutely. And again, even the bigger beauty for ourselves is, again, I mentioned biomass fuel. So part of our process when we manufacture products, we go through a heat treatment process. It's part of our ISPM 15 license. So that's a process where we kill and dry and heat treat pallets, and it's a cycle that can take up to 2.5 days. For that process to happen, we have 15 kilns across the group, but 11 of those kilns will be run on biomass fuel.
Right.
So again, as I say, the biomass is used to create the energy to heat the pallets.
Explain to me the logic about kill and dry. Does that mean that why do you kill and dry the wood? Is it
so again, I suppose for exporting and as in for pests and control, it eliminates that. Obviously, when you're moving product from different jurisdictions, so any product that is exported would have to be heat treated. But customers also want a dry pallet.
Tell us about then the opportunity and the business case. Like the business case, I think for sustainability within the business seems very evident.
The business case, absolutely. I suppose first of all, it drives cost savings. So you have energy savings. You have, I suppose, you're looking at your waste streams, how you improve those. Your I suppose the customer is fully aware, and I suppose has a demand and a need for sustainable products and services in this modern day.
Yeah. So Brian, what brought about the want, I suppose, to increase the level of sustainability across the business?
Well, Bobby, we recognise the importance of minimising our environmental impact, reducing our carbon emissions and conserving energy within the CJ Sheeran Group. Again, I suppose when we look at customers, again, the conversation is very much focused on sustainability as opposed to price driven. Also, I suppose, let's be honest, there's a lot of regulation coming down the tracks. Again, we have our Corporate Sustainability Directive report, where we will be reporting in 2026 for data relating to 2025. We also have EUDR coming in, which is deforestation regulation at the end of this year. And this regulation will require traceability from source to the point of sale. And obviously that covers not just wood. So it's very much around geolocations, etc.
So one of the things that strikes me, Brian, is that, sustainability within your business is like it's not only is it a good thing to do, but it's totally logical. It saves you money. It puts you on a footing with your customers, that they'll warm to. Like there seems to be a real strong argument, and it's hard to argue against it. Why wouldn't you?
It's a real good news story, to be fair, and it's great to be part of the journey with CJ Sheeran. Again, I suppose even during interview processes, what we're finding now is certainly for key employees that guys are actually asking us about our sustainability journey. So it's actually, I suppose, a way of retaining staff or whatever and employees into the future. But also, I suppose, when I started with CJ Sheeran up to 4 years ago, I remember the conversation was always price. It was dictated by price, as in the pallet. Towards now, I think the conversation front and centre is actually all around sustainability.
The leadership journey around sustainability, how is that communicated? How do you get everybody on the same footing with regards to sustainability?
Well, it's fair to say that sustainability is absolutely driven by the management team and our directors. It's very much transcends to all divisions within the business. So all areas will be represented, from production to compliance to sales, etc. I suppose the communication is communicated, you could say, nearly daily, weekly, under various different guises. So again, we'd have production meetings, we have compliance meetings, we have site meetings, facility meetings, and sustainability would be part of that conversation.
Yeah. So it's embedded into the business.
It's embedded into the business. So it's all kinds of things where you can save.
Interesting, Brian, as so many arms to the business, all centred around timber and wood. Where do you get all the timber?
I'm delighted you asked me that, Bobby. We are FSC certified, so Forest Stewardship Council. So that means all our timber that we source is from sustainable forestry. All our timber currently is coming in from sawmills within Ireland. So again, that's good news. Obviously, things have improved recently or in the last number of years around felling licenses in Ireland. So that has helped as well.
Okay. Can you give us some examples, Brian, of, I suppose, sustainability actions within the business, plans, maybe things that worked, things that didn't work?
I suppose the sustainability within the business, things that we've actually done over the last number of years and in the process is currently in progress would be, I suppose, again, we mentioned the biomass boilers. We have 2 on site, as in 2, one in Ballinrobe and one in Shannon Street. Again, they use 4,000 tonnes of wood chip, and that displaces up to 1.7 million litres of kerosene.
Wow.
So that's huge for the business. So again, if you look at the overall energy within the group, 44% is represented by biomass. And if we take our electricity utility bills into account from a renewable source, 60% of our total group energy is actually from renewable sources at the moment.
And that must have really played into your strengths on the basis when energy costs were so high over the past 18 months or so.
Absolutely.
The fact that you were generating your own energy must have been hugely advantageous from a cost perspective.
Hugely significant. And as a result even of, I suppose, utility costs being high, we've since looked at solar. So we've implemented solar now in 2 sites already at the beginning of this year with plans to implement on another 2 sites before the year is out. So we've implemented one in our Coolrain sawmill and the other on our Limerick Road in Mount Rat, our recycling centre.
Okay, so that's a good example then of, I suppose, sustainable innovation. Have you any others examples of that?
Well, just recently, actually, again, a piece of innovation from our facilities team, we have a compressor on site in Shannon Street. And obviously, the heat generated from that, we're now using the heat generated from the compressor where it normally would be wasted in the normal process. We're using that now to heat the water for radiators in the office.
Wow.
So again, that's very live at the moment. It literally only got implemented or modified. Our compressor was modified only in the last week. So we hope that this will eliminate the use of fossil fuel for our offices, and we calculate that would displace 3,800 litres a year.
Wow, that's significant. I suppose there's a range of sustainability certifications and frameworks. Have you guys aligned yourself to any of these?
We do. We're very proud of all the certifications that we have. We have, again, under the ISO standards, we have the 9,001, the 14,001, the 45,001, and the one I suppose we're most proud of is the energy, the 50,001. We set out in that journey, I suppose, in 2021. So we identified, I suppose, all our energy, what we're using our energy for, and the main energy uses. So part of the energy standard is we're looking at reducing our energy intensity. So our energy intensity in the last 3 years up to 2023, as of year end, based on our base year of 21, we would have reduced our energy 10.7% by 10.7%.
Wow, that's again significant.
Very
and
significant.
Very important from a cost perspective and indeed a profitability perspective.
Correct.
Yeah. How is the business engaged, Brian, with, I suppose, employees, suppliers, customers on sustainability? Now, there are probably 3 different categories there, but is the message common to all 3 groups?
Well, again, I suppose, Bobby, as we've said, the sustainability is very much front and centre of the conversations with our customers now. Towards before, it probably was very price focused. We take part in regular phone calls, Teams calls with our customers to provide updates on our sustainability journey. We would also take part in certain courses they would ask us to attend. We would take part in those. And obviously then there's questionnaires, etc., that will come out on a regular basis from customers. A big element of our work for this year, we are actually going to measure our carbon emissions So we're going to do that under scopes 1, 2 and 3. And we're obviously going to do that in line with greenhouse gases protocols, and obviously the ISO standard is in the 14,064, I think it is.
Yeah.
So we're currently engaged with that, and we hope to complete that over the next 6 to 8 months.
Do you often get requests from other companies to share your sustainability journey? Because it seems to me that you're doing an awful lot of the right things here. Do people come to you and ask you for advice, for help, for guidance?
Absolutely, and I think it's recognised that we are a long way down the tracks. I think it's also recognised that CJ Sheeran have a great news story to tell, again, all around our sustainability and our journey, and I suppose just the business model.
Can I ask you about maybe some detail around how Enterprise Ireland have helped you on your sustainability journey?
Enterprise Ireland have been absolutely brilliant. I suppose I look after grant applications, and I suppose with all of this journey, there is grants available out there. So Enterprise Ireland have been very helpful with the procedures and with the processes. They've also put us in contact with like-minded people that have gone through the process before. So again, no more than measuring our greenhouse gas emissions this year, another project that we're sort of 20% of the way, we're putting in we have a digital project, an ERP system. So again, that's going to streamline different processes. It's going to eliminate an awful lot of paper, and it's obviously going to save costs as well. And again, there is a grant application to that, or a grant element to that, and they've been very helpful with that.
Okay. What do you think the next steps might be in terms of sustainability in the business? Where are you going to take it from here?
Well, again, we have mentioned, I suppose, our total renewable energy from the group. When you take in our utility providers and our biomass at 60%, we want to increase that, obviously, to 100%. We want to be net zero. We also want to, I suppose, then if you look at practical things on the ground, again, we mentioned about solar. So again, by the end of the year, we want 4 sites to have solar. We've already 2. We also want to look at more biomass boilers. We have currently looking at HVO in our vehicles. We changed our vehicle fleet only in 2023. We changed our vehicle fleet. So we're also looking at electrification of the vehicles, but that, to be fair, I suppose being realistic, at the moment, they would probably need to be for the shorter journeys.
Right.
For electric vehicles. We are also looking at, as I said, in our digital project at the moment. So there's a huge amount of work ongoing, and I suppose it's continuous improvement, as we would always say.
Yeah. What do you think about the larger impact, I suppose, on the local community of your business taking the sustainable route? Again,
I suppose forestry. Again, we're a rural business. We consider ourselves a rural business. We're a green business. We're very much embedded in the community. There is a lot of our co-workers that would commute to work by bike, by walking. Very much part of the local community. We are in the Laois area where we would be considered huge employers. We would have staff of somewhere in the region of 220 plus in Laois County, thereabouts. We're very much, I suppose, and then with our staff, we also have to our bow with CJ Sheeran, we have an educational arm called Talentry. So what we provide education to our employees and our colleagues, and that can include, I suppose, internal and external training. Yeah. So as well as the normal stuff, you'd also have guys going through college or whatever. So obviously that's good for us, but it's also good for them, and it also helps them, I suppose, progress their careers within CJ Sheeran. I suppose, Brian, what advice would you give to any other company who might be considering embarking on a sustainability journey? Well, I suppose if you were only embarking on a sustainability journey at this moment in time, I would certainly reach out to Enterprise Ireland. I think they have absolutely been very supportive, as in as I say, from the grants, what support, financial help you can get out there, but also the education. They provide courses and different programs. I only recently attended a sustainability leaders program, and part of that was, I suppose, developing a charter, which I suppose we laid out our actions, for over the next number of years that we're going to complete, and we aligned these to the United Nations Sustainable Development Goals. So we can clearly map out how we're going to achieve those goals over the next number of years. So again, there's training courses, I suppose, that Enterprise Ireland do provide, which is absolutely brilliant. I think businesses should look at their energy sources. I think they should look at how they use energy. I think they should, I suppose, maybe do a sustainability audit. Look at what renewable energy they use. Again, there is savings, etc., to be made here as well.
Okay, well, Brian, thanks for joining us today. Thanks for sharing your journey with us. It's a fantastic business, and I think you really are at the leading edge of sustainability, and the stuff that you're doing there in CJ Sheeran is very commendable. That brings us to the end of our podcast, the Sustainable Enterprise Podcast, brought to you by Enterprise Ireland. If you want to check out the rest of the podcast series, we'll continue to bring you the sustainability stories of Irish business. My big thanks today to Brian Fingleton, the Group Compliance Manager of CJ Sheeran. Thanks for joining us, Brian.